Alright, so this video will be the quick video of review sheet number 12. Hopefully you get something out of it. I hope. I think you will, and there's no doubt you will. This first box right here, we've done a million of these throughout the year. Just remember, first step, you got to write PEMDAS. If you don't write PEMDAS, it's going to be wrong. Okay? And then from there, the only real thing after we write PEMDAS that I really want to focus on is, and I'll kind of just, I'm not going to do the problem, but remember, we do parentheses kind of left to right too. So when you do this, you would do these parentheses first. Okay, and then you go ahead and bring down everything 2/3 times 2 divided by the absolute value of -4 plus 2 times 2 times 3 squared. So nothing's changed there. I just want to make sure you all are aware then this absolute value is technically parentheses, so you would do that next. So we know that absolute value is never negative, and it's the distance that a number is from 0, and -4 is 4 from 0. So that would be next. Then you'd bring down everything and so on. Okay, and then that next step after that would be to do this parentheses. Then you would do the exponents also left to right, but you should only be doing one at a time. Okay, this next question here. Now this one's a little different than we've seen. You got to write PEMDAS obviously. Here we're adding fractions. Okay, we got to remember that we must have common denominators whenever we're trying to add or subtract fractions. So you're gonna have to go through and put some thought into that one. You know, think about what multiple all of these numbers have, and hopefully you realize that they all could be turned to 24. And then whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. Once you have that all done, then you can add the fractions. Just make sure you're doing them one step at a time. So you're going to add these two right here first, rewrite everything, and then you would add whatever that sum is there, plus 7/24. Okay? And then you would do your absolute value next, then exponents, and so on. Okay? So I don't think there'll be any issues there. This question, we've done 100 of these too. Here we see that word. You got stuff going on here. There's even another word that I always like to put in quotes. I'm not going to write the word, but I think you know what word I'm talking about, to help you determine what type of problem this is. It's from chapter 1. I think it was learning target number 5. No, it's learning target number 9, I think. 8 or 9, something like that. It might have been 8. I don't know, something like that, but if you need to refer back to that, you can. These are the ones I told you about on the video, or from the review sheet number 11, when you guys are used to getting something that looks like this, 10 plus 15, and then you turn that into something that looks like, okay, what's the GCF of 10 and 15? So you do trees and all that. Then you would put your GCF out here, and then you would say, what would I multiply 5 by to get me back to 10? What would I multiply 5 by to get me back to 15? And that would have been your answer. Okay, that would have been. And I just want you guys all to see is that all you're doing on this box right here is you're doing the opposite of that. You're starting with this and you're converting it to that. Okay, so like here, when you multiply here, that's going to give you 24. And then when you do 4 times 5 there, that's going to be 20. The only thing you got to make sure you do is you need to simplify it, which means you got to get it down to one number in this case. So just like up here, we're going to simplify because we got to get it down to one number. So 24 plus 20, you actually have to do that to get 44. So I just gave you that answer. The other thing that people are messing up on is this one here is subtraction and this one's subtraction. So just keep that in mind when you're going through it. Okay? Next one. Okay, this is one I'm going to take a little bit of time on. Okay, now if we ever want to turn any fraction into a decimal, we know that all fractions are division problems. You've heard me say that 100,000 times this year so far. All fractions are division problems. So that is just the problem right there, 7 divided by 9. Okay, so you can use your calculator as it says here. So when you do 7 divided by 9, you get something that looks like this. 0.7 repeating. Those are 7s, not 2s. Okay, so it's 0.7 repeating. I told everybody that I want everyone on this problem to round to the hundreds. Everybody had those instructions. Now, I didn't put them directly in the problem, but I told everybody when I passed it out. So you should already know that because I had everybody write it down. Okay, so round to the hundredths. So remember, it goes decimal, then you got the tenths, then you got the hundredths, and then you got the thousands. So if we're rounding to the hundredths, I'm going to put a box around that right there, and then I'm going to look to the number to the right. If that number that we're looking to is 5 or more, then we know that this has got to go up. So our decimal form here would be 0.78. and you could put 0 and 7800ths, however you want to say it, but it has to be that. Okay. Now, anytime you want to turn something into a percent, all you do is you multiply it by 100. Okay. Or, as we learned from last chapter, you just move the decimal 2 places to the right because there are 2 zeros. So this right here is going to be 78%. Okay, so the decimal just goes boop boop, 2 places, 78%. So I would need both of these answers. This is the decimal form for that. This is the percent for that. So you need decimal form and percent. So you should be good on the rest of those. Okay, this one, the only thing I'm going to say about this is I like to rewrite these like this in fraction form because I think it's a little easier to see, and I think you guys will agree. Okay, that's the first numbers. That's the top, bottom, so we don't know what this is. And then we just use the knowledge of equivalent fractions or equivalent ratios, same thing, to learn that, well, 9 times 3 is going to give me 27, so I just need to do the same thing to the bottom since they're equivalent to give me that answer. Okay, so 13 times 3. So that's it. So I would highly suggest putting them in fraction form when you do these, because I think fraction form will really help you to visualize it a little better than looking at them like this. Okay, next one. This one, you can see that this is a bar model. Okay, we're going to be doing these in the next couple of days here. But you can see that it gives you, you don't have to make the bar model, it's already made for you. And if you know that Ling paid $24 and he has 3 rectangles to show it, you just need to figure out what one of these rectangles, like what amount of money is represented by one of these rectangles. And if you figure out one of them, then you can just figure, you know that all these have that same value because they're all the same rectangle. And then you can just add them all up or multiply 1 by however many there are. And that'll give you the total cost of the lunch. Okay. Division. Look back to chapter 3. We just did this. Learning target number. It could be number 4 for some of you. Could be number 7 for some others. But regardless, you just got to make sure you know something about your divisor. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. This one here, multiplying. Again, that's also chapter 3, learning target. I think 3 or 6 on that one. So you can look back to that. Here, this is all chapter 2 stuff here. Okay. Just draw your number line and then don't forget to answer the question. I don't think there's any issues there. Look back to chapter 2 notes if you have any questions or concerns there. Here, there is work required. Just remember, all these would need 2 steps except this one. This one right here, they're already in fraction form, so technically that is step 1. They're already in that one number over another. So then your second step would just be doing the algorithm, which is just dividing the dividend by the divisor's reciprocal. That, and then you can cross simplify. Here, I would definitely need to see 1, 2. Here, 1, 2. Okay, if I don't see it, it will be wrong. And same with that one here, 1, 2. Look back to chapter 3 if you have any issues there. Function table, you just got to figure out a rule that's happening. And this is a tough one because it's not going to be just +1 because it doesn't work for all of them. It's going to be a 2-step, so I'm not going to give much information, but just think about what you could do here. There's a couple different rules to choose from on this. So just kind of work at it. You'll figure it out. Okay. This one here, you know that it gives you some information here. That Alex bought 5 whiteboards for $94.70, and we're going to let X be the cost of each board. Okay, so you just have to figure out which equation is going to be the problem. Am I going to take the whiteboards and add the cost of each one? Am I going to subtract the cost of each one? Am I going to multiply the cost of each one, or whatever? Okay, once you figure it out, then you got to determine how much each one costs based on that information. Okay. This one here, this would be another opportunity to use a proportion like we've talked about. This right here is what I would call your fake ratio. Okay, so that's the fake ratio that we've been talking about. So, you know, you may as well get in the habit of using proportions because when chapter 5 rolls around, you're going to be required to do it this way every time. Remember, your fake ratio goes right there. Whatever real information you have, that's real information, would go on there. And then from there, I think you can figure it out. Okay, here, you're plotting these points. I know it's really hard to see. I really, really apologize. Just do your best with it. The one thing I want you to take notice of is this is 1 right here. This is 2. This is 3. Okay, let me rewrite those. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. You can see how it skips 1. So if it skips 1, that means that this is a half, this is 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. Okay, so that's why you have halves in there. Down here, you got it. Once you plot 4, -1/2, wherever that is, you're going to have to reflect it over the y-axis. So as you can see, the x and y are labeled here. So should be pretty easy there to reflect it. If not, that's all chapter 2. So you can refer back to that. All right. This question, another one that should be a proportion, only this time it's going to be a unit rate. Okay, so that means the number 1 is going to go there, and we want to know what the rate is per sandwich. So that means sandwiches must go on the bottom, money is going to go on the top, and then right there, once again, same deal. That's your fake ratio. And remember, your fake ratio always goes in your first ratio. And then from there, you can use your knowledge of equivalent ratios to figure it out. Okay, this one, you guys all know by now. We had the same question last week, and I wanted you to prove each one of these. So what this means is, I want you to find the mean. I want you to find the median. I want you to find the mode. I want you to find the range. Okay, and then obviously this last one, no real work required. So I actually, if you think that the mean is that, you better have showed me that you thought the mean was that. I'm not saying that's right, but I just want you guys to know you need to figure that out. Now, remember what this is really, if this wasn't put in a dot plot, it would look like this. 0 people, or this is breakfast. How many people had breakfast? How many days this week? We had 3 people that only had breakfast 0 times. We had 4 people have breakfast 1 time. We had 5 people have breakfast 2 times, and so on. And you can understand where I'm getting that. There's 5 2s, 4 1s. That's where I'm getting it. So if you wanted to list them all out to help you find the median, the mean, the mode, and the range, you can do it that way. Okay? But again, I need you, if you think that the mode is 7, I need you to prove to me why you thought the mode was 7. Or if you said, no, that's not true, I need you to show me why you thought the mode was set. What it really was, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Down here, no work really required here. I'm not going to require any work. The only thing I would say, if I was given any advice, is I think I'd probably draw number lines for all these. I think that'll help you. Whoops. You guys get the point. And then you can, as you're doing this, you can say, okay, negative, if 0 is right here, negative 1.5 would be there, 2.2 would be over here somewhere. Can a negative be greater than a positive? So that one would be eliminated because you can see it's further left. Can't be further left. The bigger number will always be to the right. Okay, so again, you don't have to do this, but if that helps you, that's a strategy. All right? Hope this helped, guys.